Hello and welcome to another video. It's a pleasure to have you along. My name is Elmo Karjalainen. J. Karjalainen, by the way. Yeah, you can call me this guy if my surname is tricky to pronounce. Today I'm taking a look at the Boss Katana 50 and comparing it to the Boss Nextone Stage, the 40 watt. They're roughly similar products, I think, so it made sense to compare them. So how do they compare? We'll find out after this intro. Okay, so today I have two Boss combos here. One is the Katana 50 and one is the Nextone Stage, which is 40 watts. I've set them both to roughly the same volume and I'm just going to compare them because I think that they do pretty much the same thing with slight differences, and I'll have a look at the differences as well. But we'll just start off with how they sound. So here is just a clean sound first off on the Katana. So I have an A/B switch. Oh, and by the way, before I get going, I don't have them close mic now, so I have the microphone a few feet away so that you get both evenly, so I can just switch amps without having to muck with the microphone in between, so that I can give you my impression when sitting here. Okay, so first off, the Boss Katana. Okay, sounds quite nice. Here's the Boss Nextone. Likewise, it sounds quite nice. So, first thing I'm going to try out is I have an overdrive pedal here, the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive, and I'm just going to see how they take the pedal, because they're both supposedly good at doing that. So, here is the the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive into the Boss Katana. Also needs a noise gate. And then the Boss Nextone. Alright, next up is a slightly crunchy sound on both amps. So first off, the Boss Katana with the crunch channel on that one, and I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a slight amount of hiss going already, so they don't have inbuilt noise gates, either of these, which is a bit of a bummer. Okay, that was the Katana, and here's the Nextone. Okay, there we have the crunchy sounds. Now I'll add the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive because I found that that works best with a slightly crunchy sound where that drives the crunchy sound even more. So here is that, and again you're going to need the noise gate because that's what happens without it. And here's the boss Katana. And the boss Nextone. Okay, so there we have both of those. So I'll go over to even more overdriven territory. Okay, at this point I have a fair bit of noise going from both amps, so let's go with the boss Katana first. And the boss Nextone. Okay, next up we'll go with gain all the way up. And at this point I've gone to the brown sound on the Katana and I have gain and boost engaged on the Nextone. So this is first off the Katana. Nextone. Okay, so the Nextone is starting to sound very muddy, so I'll try to do something about that. Okay, so I noticed I also had the tone switch engaged, so now it's without that and I added a bit of top end as well. Katana. Okay, so I've dropped gain a bit, so here's now the Katana. Next tone. Now the thing with the Nextone is that you can do different types of power valve or tube if you're American, power valve simulations or emulations with this one. So now I have it set to EL34, but if I change to EL84 it sounds like this. And 6V6. And 6L6. Okay, so I dropped gain a bit on both to decrease the noise a bit, but here's my gripe with both amps. Now, this one supposedly emulates different types of power amp valves or tubes, and I think it doesn't really do that much. Like I can play a note like this and then change the different power valves on the go and you'll see what happens. To my ear, the difference is basically nothing, next to nothing. There's a slight difference there, but it's not enough to warrant getting one of these amps. So, the thing about this one is it has a clean, a crunch, a lead and a brown sound channel, and to my ear they all sound like the same amp but with different channels on the same amp. And for a modeling amp I would really like to have kind of different types of amps to go between. So I don't, usually I like a different amp for a clean and a different amp for a lead and maybe something else for a crunch as well. At least different options that I could check out. Now I know at least this one is affordable, this one is getting to the point where it's a bit pricey, but this one is very affordable, so I can kind of understand that. But with this one I don't really see the point of this whole amp. Now that's one problem. One of the good things about this amp, it has an external speaker out, so you can connect it to an external cab, which when I tried that, and you can see the review below, I have the link in the description, when you do that it sounds instantly much better. I think that one of the problems with both amps is that they have crummy speakers inside. This one definitely does. I can't try this one with an external speaker out because it doesn't have an external speaker out. And that's why didn't they put an external speaker out? Because it's a 50 watt amp. It should be able to do it. Anyway, so those are both of the amps. Now this one is actually a bit more versatile because you can get a bunch of different overdrive pedals into it. You can get the different types of Boss overdrives in it or distortions. You can get different types of modulation effects like chorus for instance, and you can get delays, different types of delays and different types of reverbs. This one has delay and reverb and modulation as well. Let me check. Sorry, bit of a lie, no it doesn't. So this has delay and reverb, which is great, but this one is a lot more flexible. If you need more gain, then you need something like an external overdrive pedal with the Nextone. The Katana has all that built in, and here is just an example. But then the problem is that you have loads of noise going on. So you might prefer an overdrive pedal on the outside, a real pedal, and a noise gate on the outside. But you can do great ambient stuff with this. You can change that to something different. Now, in addition to that, you can download more effects into or you can switch the ones that you already have in here to something different via the Boss Katana website thingy, whatever app it is. I don't know, and that's one of the gripes I also have with both of these amps. If you want to have kind of maximum everything out of them, you very much do need to connect them to a laptop of some kind and download stuff, update firmware and all that kind of stuff. I've had it said to me about this one that you need to update the firmware and tweak the amp with the app that you can use it with, and I hate that kind of stuff. I want an amp that I can tweak with the knobs that it has, and then I can get something out of it, or I can't. Either way is fine, kind of. I don't want to connect it to a computer because I spend my time looking at the computer screen enough as it is. So that's kind of my big gripe with both. Now, I'll say this. I'm not a big fan of either of these. I think this one could be quite good if you swapped speakers. This one could get better if you swapped speakers. But this one costs over 500 euros, which is $600-ish, although I'm not entirely sure how much they sell them for in the States. This one is 200 euros. And if you're spending 500 euros on an amp and you want to upgrade a speaker, you're going to have to spend a bit more money, and you're getting into the kind of territory where why don't you just buy a proper tube or valve amp? This one I can understand. It's just 200 euros. So I get it. You can gig with it. It does all kinds of stuff. It doesn't do too many things. I'm not a big fan of it. Loads of people are. So which one would I get if I had the choice? Well, I have both. Well, this is not mine, but I'd get this one. I'm not sure about this one. Yeah, so that's kind of my comparison of these two. In certain instances, they're quite similar, but they're also quite different in some ways, and price is a huge deal. This is over double as much as this one. So yeah, I'd go for the Boss Katana. I have heard that they have newer versions of this as well. They might be better. I have heard that the bigger versions have an external cab out, so that would be interesting to try. I don't have one of those, so just purely on the merits of this, I think the speaker sucks. I think the speaker sucks. This sounds okay. This sounds not too sure. Okay, this gets muddy when you put overdrive or you put more gain on. Both take pedals quite nicely, so that's a plus. But yeah, if you're on a budget, this one is a fairly safe bet if you can live with the sound, or if you like the sound, because hey, it's all subjective. So if you like the sound, good for you. This one, I'd honestly go for a proper valve amp in that case. Yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of it. I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't, as I'm sure you will. This is YouTube, and I'm sure I'll get a bunch of comments saying, hey, you don't understand those amps because you need those apps and you need to do all this and that. Yeah, based on what I'm hearing here, that's my kind of review of these. I wouldn't get this. This one, I might if I was on a budget and didn't have other stuff already, but I'm not a big fan of this. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that little bell notification thing, and comment, let me know which one you preferred, and if you've managed to get any better sounds out of these. This is a fairly quick demo, so I haven't been tweaking them too much, but I have tweaked this in the past and I've never gotten anything that I've liked out of it in an overdrive sense. Cleans are nice on both, and crunch tones are nice on both. And support me on Patreon so you get an honest review, because I buy the gear that I review. I own this amp and I've borrowed this so I can say what bloody well I think yeah. So like I've said, this one is a fairly safe investment. 200 euros or $200+ is not a lot of money, and you can gig with it because it's loud enough. This is also loud enough. You have to swap speakers basically, I think, in both of these, but especially with this one because it's over 500 euros, I'd get something different. Yeah, that's all I have for you today. I won't end by playing on either of these amps because I'm not that impressed. Sorry! See you in another one. Take care. Goodbye!